Okay, so let's talk about Deadwalker's Rise of the Fourth Reich. Now, this was actually going to be my first video in my upcoming Nazi Zombie Week, but this is such a wet fart of a movie, I didn't actually want to include it. And to be honest with you, the zombie element is so minor here, I kind of felt it would be a little bit cheating. So let's talk about Deadwalker's Rise of the Fourth Reich. This is a 2013 very, very low budget British movie, and I think it tries to be a little bit experimental with the way it's filmed. Basically, it has kind of two concurrent storylines. I guess the modern one is this kind of military guy being interviewed by a psychologist, and as he kind of recounts the mission. And kind of within that mission, we sort of see via a series of kind of flashbacks that essentially he's kind of investigating this Nazi group that have been operating all the way, through the Second World War right up until modern times, and this kind of group has been sort of dabbling in the occult and trying to kind of this sort of army basically, and this is kind of where the kind of the zombie element sort of comes in, but it's relatively minor, and we really don't see much in the way of the kind of the zombie element. Hence why I've kind of pushed this out of Nazi Zombie Week and kind of really just kind of going through it as a separate review. But stay tuned if you want some proper Nazi zombies; they are coming. Anyway, this is a bizarre film because, like I said, it tries to be experimental. It has one good idea, which I'll come on to in a minute, but the majority of this film is actually told through kind of security cameras and almost a found footage feel. But the problem is they try to be way too experimental with the way the cameras are, having kind of lots of kind of lens flare and kind of filters to kind of change the colour, and it's so irritating after a while, and it gives you kind of such a just a distant feel from the kind of the movie. But it's such a poorly put together film, and the audio is terrible. It's barely intelligible what people are saying. It's got this stupid sort of sometimes heavy metal soundtrack. The plot is absolutely nonsensical. I just didn't know what was going on I actually had to read the kind of synopsis to think, what's actually going on in this film? I can't follow it because it's just not making any sense. And the acting is just beyond wooded, unfortunately. And like I said, the effects are really minimal. We only really ever see kind of one kind of real kind of fully made up zombie Nazi. There's a couple of kind of some extras here and there, but to be honest with you, the element really there is so minor. Don't let the cover fool you, because it really isn't that. It's more of a really low budget action film more than a kind of a horror film. And like I said, that's pretty much why I've kind of shoved it out of my Zombie Nazi Week into just this kind of review. But this is really nothing to recommend it, aside from maybe the one interesting idea that this movie had, that this guy is it may be suffering from post-traumatic stress basically, and he's maybe kind of it's in his head, which and may annoy people when you get to the end of the film, because it's kind of almost like it was all a dream. But at the same time, I thought maybe that was kind of a good idea to a certain degree, and how much of this is in this guy's head and how much of it actually happened, it's up to you to decide basically. But to be honest with you, that one sort of like germ of a good idea is just buried under piles and piles of amateur crap, and this is such a kind of a boring movie to have to sit through, and it just doesn't make sense, and the performances are horrible, the effects are non-existent, and just okay, the effects that they're using on the cameras and stuff, maybe a good idea to use this on a few scenes here and there. But it's nearly the whole movie, or at least half of the film is told through these kind of various kind of stationary cameras and things like that, and it just becomes ridiculous. And you kind of get, yes, it's a gimmick, and we've seen it, we've used it, get over it. This film is bad. There's very little here to recommend it, and I'm going to give this movie a 1 out of 10. Not quite the lowest film I've ever rated, but it's damn close. Anyway, if you want some proper zombie Nazi action, then stay tuned for an upcoming week of Nazi zombies coming your way very soon.